Hello there and a very warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. Now, with Nigeria still in the economic woods, plagued by record levels of inflation, which reached 18.7% in January of 2017, the federal government has launched an economic recovery and growth plan to lift the country out of recession, hoping to hit 7% growth by the year 2020. Today on the program, we will be beaming our searchlight on this document. Let's meet our guests joining us via a Google Plus Hangout. We have Deji Adeyanju joining us from Abuja, the nation's capital. Thanks for coming on board. And we also have Ronald Zimora, who joins us from Lagos. Thanks as well for coming on the program. All right, Ronald, kickstart this conversation for us. How viable do you think this plan or this document is?
To be sincere, I do not think that the government has done a good job. I'm a fan of this government. I'm a fan of the president, but then I think there's a whole lot of inconsistencies in the plan. If you read through the plan, you're going to see that there is still a whole lot of dependence on oil as a primary foreign exchange earner, and we've been on this oil thing for a number of years. It has not worked. The current government is talking about diversifying, and then they create a plan, and the focus of the plan is still on oil. Then I really don't understand what they're trying to tell us, really. So I think it's going to end up like all the previous plans. I want it to work, but I do not hold out a lot of hope for it.
To my own understanding, I've read the plan. I took my time to read it 3 times, so that maybe what I was not seeing during the first time, I could see during the second or third.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can just see is a government that is desperate to borrow money, and maybe because of the terms of the loan, the government decided to now play to the gallery. I don't see how this plan is realistic, because like I have said previously, at various forums, that Nigeria does not have a problem, and our export problem, and we are effectively able to solve it, then I think we'll be heading towards a prosperous and a developed. We'll be heading in the direction of a developed nation. So does not highlight that direction which Nigeria should be heading. Nigeria, because if you base the plan on, because we should keep asking ourselves, how much oil did NNPC sell in 2016? How much did they sell in February, in January? How much did they sell in February? With economic realities, if for instance the 2016 budget was a budget where 75% expenditure, how can any country that wants to be developed act like that? Our 25% is on capital expenditure. If you look at the overhead cost of running the presidential villa alone in the 2016 budget, that nothing has really changed. In fact, things have even gotten worse than it used to be. Particularly to me, I think the government is desperately trying to borrow money to be seen that they are trying to meet some of the conditions that have been set by those they want to borrow money from.
All right, Ronald, you spoke about the plan being made with much reference to oil, but then it's Nigeria's biggest earner. Why would you not want that to feature in the plan?
No, I'm not saying it should be left out. Of course, we can leave it out. That's our primary income earner right now. But if you're creating a plan for economic prosperity in a world where the importance of oil is dwindling, then you should be basing your plan on other things, not solely on oil. So you can create a plan for economic prosperity, and in a world where there's shale oil, where oil prices are tumbling down, and you are basing your economic prosperity on the same oil, it doesn't work. We can't be going forward and going back at the same time.
Yeah, but what would you prefer to have been included?
I would have preferred they build it around exports. So, identify the sectors of the economy from which we can produce things to export. We have an export problem. Okay, we don't export. We export basically just oil. Our country is blessed with so much. We have gold in Osun State. We have a whole number of other minerals. and a lot of them are unexploited because we have something we call the exclusive list somewhere that's mitigating against development. You can't just base a growth plan in 2017 on just oil. We have agriculture, we have other solid minerals. We need to, if we are going to build a plan really that should work, then we should focus on developing other resources that we have. That's not just oil. Yes, the oil has to be there, but then it shouldn't be the basis of the growth plan.
I said our external borrowing for 2017 is 1.67 trillion. That just does not make sense to me. What his colleague was simple. For the 2017 budget, non-oil revenue is 1.73 trillion. While oil revenue itself is 1.985 trillion. I don't know where our problem is now. Do you understand? In this entire budget, we have a deficit of 2.269 trillion naira. You understand? That is where the problem is. You understand? Because to have party, because that's what this government is doing. No reasonable human being borrows money to have a pool party so that you can make profit turnover. What the government is doing is the government is borrowing to spend on frivolities. That is not the direction that any developing country should be heading. You understand? To me, it does not make sense, that our physical framework does not evolve around agriculture. We are not focusing too much on things that can sustain the economy. Rather, we are focusing on things that will not take the country anywhere. So, in my own analysis, I don't see how the plan can lead Nigeria out of recession. Except maybe they will just announce, anytime and say we're out of recession, but the problem persists.
All right, Deji, you have been speaking about borrowing by the government as part of the plan. Is it stated therein as one of the plans to economic recovery? So why are you convinced that this document is geared towards borrowing either from external or internal sources, if indeed it's not in the plan already?
No, the truth of the matter is, when you look at your budget, your 2017 budget, the questions that come to mind is, what will the money in the 2017 budget be spent on? Those are the main issues, key main issues. You cannot borrow money domestically and externally so that you can fund National Assembly, so that you can fund Aso Rock, you can fund fueling of generators, you can fund, do you understand? If you are borrowing money to build solid infrastructure for power, because if you look at the 2017 budget, look at the number of cars, SUVs that is going to be bought by the government in almost all parastatals and every agency of government. How does that make sense? How does that make any sense? Look at the level of waste. Do you understand? Oil, the oil benchmark for 2017 is 42 cents per barrel. You understand? You now look at the oil production itself, maybe 2.2 million barrels per day. Then you look at maybe on an exchange rate of 305 to the dollar. Let's even say what they are saying. Look at inflation. You understand? These issues cannot help the economy. It cannot, because the major problem of the 2017 budget is waste. Imagine if we can cut waste. You understand? We will not have to borrow this much.
Well, how specific are the timelines in the document? Yes, we know it is a 2017 to 2020 plan, but how time-bound are the components of this document?
Yeah. Going through the document, right? They have a sort of a timeline, from 2017 to 2018, 2019, up to 2020. But you see, my problem is sincerity of purpose, right? Now, I saw a lot of inconsistencies. I'm going to mention one of them. One of them is where they talked about wanting to reduce the time it takes for registering businesses from 10 days to 2 days. Victor, I don't know if you've tried to register a business before in Nigeria, but it takes upwards of 2 to 3 months to register a business. So I don't know where they got their figure of 10 days from. I don't know where they got that figure of 10 days from. There is nobody that I know in my circle that has, that has registered his business within 10 days. Never. Okay, so these are some of the inconsistencies in there. So when you set timelines and the document that has your timelines, there is a lot of inconsistencies in there. I don't know how I don't know how sincere you are about meeting those timelines.
All right, so moving forward now, what would you like to see included in such plans in the future?
You see, basically, like what my colleague has said, we need to focus spendings on things that are important, extremely important for advancement of the country and, real development. In sense, in the EFCC, building an office that will cost us billions and billions of naira. You understand? I do not see any reason why we should still continue focusing. Because if you look at the NNPC budget, or in fact, you will have cause to worry for this country. You understand? If you look at EFCC's budget, you have cause to worry for this country. You understand? Like he said, agriculture. If you are spending, for instance, there's something that is so amazing that I just thought about right now. If in 2016, 221 pipes, pipelines were vandalized by militants, and several other vandalism acts like that. So if you spend so much on the oil sector with so much sabotage, in that sector, and imagine if you spend same in agriculture, and you generate more revenue from non-oil sector. We'll take care of our export problem, because at the moment the only major thing we export is crude oil, and the economy will not be having this need to quickly put together, a recovery plan so that we can borrow money.
In my opinion, the recovery plan is 2 years late. That one, it's 2 years late. Nonetheless, it's been created, it's been done. I hope that that it works. I do not hold out a lot of hope for it. What I think they should do is to now it's going to seem radical, but I think this recovery plan should be rewritten. I think it should be drawn up again and more focus, put on the areas that will grow the economy for the future, that outside of oil. And then more focus, be placed on SMEs, because the fact of the matter is that for any economy to really grow, and if you don't incorporate SMEs into it, you are basically wasting your time. And SMEs are not just about oil. You talked about ICT, we talked about agriculture, we talked about solid minerals and all of that, derivative companies, and so on and so forth. These are the things that need to be done going forward. We should work to develop sectors of the economy that are going to last long, that are going to be sustainable.
All right, guys, thanks for coming on the program, but that's where we have to leave it. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more analysis. Don't go away.